The creative process is such an amazing journey. It's filled with hope and expectation, frustration and exhaustion. Deciding to even embark on this journey and then defining the why is quite the process indeed. Why am I doing this? What is the point and who will benefit? Sometimes the why is just sheer obedience to a knowing that it's something that you must do. Sometimes you have to do it with humility and tenacity just because it needs to be done. Gratefully, I have some wonderful people in my life who have believed in me and in this project, and I will introduce them to you in a moment. The campaign instructions say to introduce yourself, talk about who you are. However, who I am in this project isn't all that important. This project is for you, the reader, the listener, the wife, the mother, and the friend. You see, we're in a club, and it's not a club we chose to be in. It's not a club we ever wanted to be in, and it's not a club we can get out of, so here we are. We're in the club of having loved ones, children, spouses, friends, who are addicts or alcoholics. It's a terrible club, and we didn't choose it, it chose us. But I need you to know that we are not alone. Sometimes we want to hide because the shame is almost too much to bear. But life continues on, and even when we can't get off this chaotic merry-go-round, we have to find places of hope so that we can stay in the game. I wrote a book. I hate to even call it my book because it doesn't seem like it's my book. It may be my story, but more importantly, what is contained in these pages isn't about me. It's about you and all the people in the club. It's about one who is greater than all of our pain and one who can turn mourning into joy in an impossible situation. It's about walking in faith while standing in the fire. The book is written, the interior is complete, the cover is finished. Now I have just a few more things that need to get done to finish this project. Who even knew that self-publishing could cost so much? I had no idea. I do plan to have a website, a Shopify. I need to purchase the ISBNs. I need to engage in a pre-launch campaign. I need to do some influencer marketing, set up an LLC, email account, and have all my ducks in a row. The budget to get all these things done I've estimated at about $3,133. If you are in my club and you want to partner with me, I would be honored. If you know someone in my club and think they would benefit, please share this campaign. I'm looking forward to what this project could become and trusting that what I share will be beneficial and an encouragement to the very souls of people in my club. Thank you for sharing this campaign, and I look forward to sending you a copy of the finished work. Yours truly, SG. I am incredibly honored that Jay Zen has read my draft of Hope in the Land of Nod. Jay is a multi-talented artist, author, and pastor. Listen now to what Jay has to say about this project in his own words.
I have pastored churches over 4 decades and felt the most inept at counseling those whose spouses were addicted to drugs or alcohol. It was a world I had no context for in my own life's experiences, not until several years ago when a close family member emerged with an addiction to alcohol. It invaded all of our lives, making us feel helpless in providing any solutions or to see light at the end of the tunnel. Today, we are on the other side of that time, seeing health and great progress in that person's recovery. But chemical addictions can be a sleeping giant you can't ignore, and therein lies the greatest concern: to be disappointed again someday. Reading SG's story brought all those memories back. I kept saying over and over to myself, "Yep, I understand exactly what you've gone through." I also thought, I wish I had this book when I was going through this in my life. SG takes you on her journey, not only with her own spouse, but her childhood, transparent about her fears, her pain and suffering, and most importantly, her victories. Reading this book is like sitting in a counselor's office for family members who are dealing with someone they love, someone who is destroying themselves, and you can do nothing to help them, not until they reach that point to do something about it. With raw truth, SG shows you how she's learned to cope and live her life above the heartbreaks by finding her solution in Jesus. She's done the unthinkable in my mind, something that requires great faith in God, who is her peace and comforter, the glory and lifter of her head. Knowing SG and having been around her at church and in small group settings, she carries herself in a way that you'd never detect what she's experienced and lived with for years. Be prepared to garner great wisdom and practical insights on how to find God in a hopeless and helpless situation when your spouse has addictions only he or she can decide to change. To hear SG's story may very well be your story. If so, you'll find comfort and guidance within these pages. If you have not lived in a situation like SG's, you'll learn what it's like for countless numbers of women who deal with this every day of their lives. It will provide you with the necessary empathy they need to have from our support, our understanding, and our prayers.
Jason Clark has also read Hope in the Land of Nod. Jason has served as a worship leader, pastor, and director of ministries, and is also a published author. This is what Jason has to say.
This is a vulnerable and empowering work. For those who have experienced the ravages of addiction, this book is familiar territory. SG writes her own story of heartache and pain while never leaving the grace and love of God she has discovered on the journey. Filled with insight and no small amount of humor, SG empowers those with loved ones who struggle with addiction to choose life. She writes, "The choice to live and not just exist is a big one. It takes courage, it takes strength, and we all have it. We were born with it. It is in us." This book is the revelation of how SG, through the grace of God, found the strength within her. I believe this book will encourage the reader to find strength for their own journey into life.
And now you get to hear from my dear friend Karen. She's not only read the book, but also edited the final version. Without her, this project would have been stalled forever, frankly. I am so grateful for her talent and friendship. Here's what Karen has to tell you.
Despite the high percentage of families dealing with addiction and mental illness, loving and living with someone in this situation can be a lonely and extremely stressful journey. Reading this book is like having a companion who has walked the same road, who has nurtured her faith in God despite the darkness, and who honestly and willingly shares her hard-won wisdom. I highly recommend this book. You will find encouragement and deep insight to give you strength for the journey.